What's going on, agents? Yashoki here, talking about The Division. So when a lot of people talk about The Division, they like to mention the multiplayer aspects of the game. Moving around as a group and doing big missions. Roaming the dark zones with other people and hunting players down or looking for really good loot. Just roaming the city. But what about those of you who might be a little bit more introverted? What about those of you who don't like playing with a lot of other people? What about those who just kind of want to chill, relax, get some loot, maybe watch something in the background, and just play the game? That's why I present gaming as an introvert, playing the Division as a single player game. I'm going to highlight a few of the things, and it's not everything here, but I'm going to highlight a few of the things that kind of make me enjoy playing the game by myself. So let's get right into it. Back in the day, I was really into Warcraft, World of Warcraft to be exact. And one of the things that I really liked about playing that game was that I already had a pretty good knowledge of the World of Warcraft or the Warcraft universe. And one of the things that really got me excited about playing that game was really kind of feeling that I'm in this environment where history has taken place. And the Division does a really good job of doing that. The map is littered with all kinds of collectibles and little points of interest. Um, One of the greatest things about this game is that since the beta, I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of content. Um, but as you're looking at here in the video, I'm walking around, and the first thing I encounter is a couple of bad dudes who want to shoot at me. And then I'm suddenly thrown into this mission. And this is something that can happen all over the place. You'll just be roaming around. You'll see these dudes kind of looting some guy's body or kind of holding him at gunpoint. And you can choose at that point to kind of save the guy, either because you want loot or because you want to be, the division agent and save some people. And that's something that I really enjoy that this game does. It doesn't leave me alone, if that makes any sense. So, for example, there's always something to do. I open up my map and I see a bunch of icons for missions or big operations. I can grab little data pads and things of that nature. For example, right now, I just got thrown into this mission where I'm shooting at some dudes. I could have easily walked away from them and done something different, but I wanted to try my hand at it. Now, I'm going to spoil it for you. I don't do very well here. I kind of end up losing. But that's mostly because I was just kind of getting some footage for the video and just kind of seeing where the game took me. But the thing that I really enjoy about this game is that you feel like this is literally a city in chaos. There are things happening and you can't get to everything. You can't control all of it, and sometimes you're thrown into the thick of it. I've had times where I'd be heading to a mission, and I'm getting ready, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this mission. I'm gonna get this blueprint or whatever item that they're offering, and the next thing you know, someone needs some help with someone. Hey, I need a candy bar, and you go ahead and give her something out of your inventory, and it just adds a little bit to this world that you're kind of able to get immersed in this kind of post biohazard Manhattan, and it really shows. I think Ubisoft took a really long time and took really good care of making sure that the world feels lived in and it feels like this is a city that is in trouble. This is a city that needs help. That needs to be cleaned up a little bit, whether it be by shotgun or rifle or sniper rifle or even automated turrets. So next up is a shot of my map. And on the map, you're going to see a lot of icons. You're going to see safe houses. You're going to see really big missions. You're going to see encounters that I can do, even side missions, where those take maybe about 20 seconds, depending on the mission, to maybe about 5 or 4 minutes. Again, just depending what kind of mission they throw you in. But one of the cool things is this game does a really good job at building a story, building a history of this Manhattan that you're in. And the way they do that is through a couple things. First off is going to be the phone recordings you can pick up. And a little bit later on in the clip, I actually play one of the recordings. And these could be phone calls to like a radio station, phone calls between a mother and daughter. There's even phone calls from the riders that you actually encounter, when you're fighting dudes out in the world. And also evidence. So whenever you do a big story mission, you get this little clip of evidence you can kind of watch, and it gives a little bit of information on what's happening there, and it's pretty crazy. There's also reports and all kinds of things that you can pick up in this game to really kind of flesh out the game, and not all of it is visual. Some of it is actually audio as well.
All right, the guns check out. Let's do this. Yeah, but what if they have kids? Just hold the gun like you mean it. They'll back down, especially if they got kids. Yeah? But what if they won't? Then it's on them. They don't have to die unless they decide they want to. It's their choice. This is some bullshit. Yeah, but I'm not gonna let some rich assholes get a pass just because I got a family. Everyone's got a family, and mine's starving. Now man up and let's do this. All right.
So that right there is one of the sound clips that you could hear in the game by grabbing these phones that are littered around, and your minimap will kind of give you an idea of where they're at. Next coming up is something called an echo. And echoes are these really cool kind of visual representations of past experiences. They can be tied to missions, or they can be tied to something completely different. And they're a kind of a cool way to really show the story in almost like a post, like backwards flashback kind of view.
Think I heard something.
Hey, fresh blueprints here. The snow's too thin to follow. Keep your eyes open.
Did you check the cars? Not yet. I'll get there.
Unit 4, we need you back at base. Stat.
Roger, on our way. We're moving out!
Yo, you gotta bring some IV bags too.
Shut up and listen. We can't deal here. Garden North Station, near the 8th Street exit. I'll meet you there.
So for those of you out there who just want to play the game and kind of experience a story, The Division does a really good job of giving you these little snippets of what happened in the past and kind of make sense of this world and the situation that people ended up getting into. Now, while base building isn't necessarily a single player aspect, they do a really good job of it in the Division of tying it both into the single player and the multiplayer. So your base of operations is kind of like your progress meter for the game in the sense of all the main things you can do. It doesn't really include a lot of the side stuff. Side missions are mostly for blueprints, extra money, kind of, grabbing some of the extra collectibles in the game. But your base of operations is basically where you tune up your character, where you really kind of unlock perks and abilities and talents to really kind of tailor and fine tune your character to your own liking, depending on your playstyle. And the best thing about it is that it's pretty alive. When you first get into your base of operations, it's not very filled out. It's pretty dead. But you end up building a medical wing, a tech wing, a security wing, and you start filling it with all kinds of stuff. In the medical wing right here, I actually have a way for me to harvest fabric for crafting. I have like counseling. I have a pediatric care center. And it really just starts bringing the world alive. It makes it feel like you're making an impact in this world, which a lot of multiplayer games don't do a very good job of doing, especially in MMO, like for example World of Warcraft does a really terrible job of really making you feel like you're impacting the world in any way because the next warlock down the road, well, he's doing the same thing too. He just killed the big boss, but you just killed the big boss. So how does that, fit into the personal story that you're trying to make here? And by kind of separating the base of operations from the multiplayer, making it kind of your own thing, you can really kind of start to build your own little working city within this, chaotic environment that you're in. And all of these things that you build go back into your character. So your character is growing, it's progressing, he's getting stronger, getting more personalized, more to your taste. So the way that I build my character based on my talents, that's the same that you're going to build your character and your talents, which for a single player experience is really great and it adds a lot of depth to the gameplay. Now, being an introvert doesn't mean you can't hang out with people, doesn't mean you can't interact with others. Being an introvert means that while you can deal with social situations, you recharge your batteries by hanging out alone, right? So after spending all this time by yourself, you can head down to a safe house. And safe houses are kind of instanced areas where you'll see other players. Now here I'm trying to kind of talk to the people, trying to call them out. Unfortunately, no one's really answering me. I don't know if the voice chat works in the safe houses. No one's really told me if you can or can't. But I had to walk around like, yo, what's going on, man? Those are some pretty cool sunglasses. You got an extra pair for me? It's kind of messing with people a little bit before I kind of plan out my next mission. And again kind of adds this sense of that even though you're alone playing this game, you can still see other people, and if for any reason you want to group up with them, you really have the ability to do that. So it's just a little fun extra that I wanted to throw in there when it comes to the single player aspect of this game. So I decided before ending the video, I really did want to show you guys a mission, a side mission being played solo. And the great thing is that all these side missions can be done completely by yourself. Now, I can definitely call in people and wait maybe a minute or two and have a full group and do this as a team of four. But the reason why I like playing a lot of these things solo is because I find that when I play with other people, I tend to kind of hang back and let them do a lot of the forward running. And the reason why is because when I play the Division, I use a lot of cover. I do the cover to cover system. So if you're looking at another cover, another piece of cover in the geometry, you can actually hold the button and run to that cover and play more of a kind of like a tactical role play kind of style. And I actually really enjoy that because it makes me feel like, I am a agent of the Division and I am super cool and I can kill things with my cover tacticalness and things of that nature. And when I'm playing with a lot of other people, they dictate the pace, not me. Sometimes I get a group of people who wants to play more of a tactical nature, which is great. But for the most part, I don't really find that, which is, again, fine. Some people want to run through and kill a bunch of stuff, and that's great. Games are designed that you can have fun the way you want to play them. But I like to take my games a little bit slower. I like to kind of move in a more of a tactical fashion again, and kind of use the cover and feel like I'm really kind of frantically trying to take out these bad dudes in this destroyed city. So here I'm just kind of going through and shooting a couple guys and going through some of the missions. For example, right here is one of the data pads that I was talking about before.
Can't be more than a couple of months old. Coffee beans. Are you insane? I know, right? I got a gas-fired air roaster, too. Come on, I know you like French roasts. How the fuck did you... No, never mind. I'll be right over.
So that little snippet really illustrates my point on playing the Division by yourself and why some people might prefer it as opposed to playing with a big group all the time. Which is, again, is perfectly okay. Some folks want to kill the dudes, get the gear, reach max level, start doing crazy stuff in the dark zone, which again is cool. Play the game the way you want. That's why it's there. It's a video game. But if I was rolling with some of the groups that I have been playing with, and not everyone's like this, I'm not going to blame a bunch of people, but some people don't want to sit around and listen to a audio recording. And the sad thing is that when you get these little recordings in a mission, you kind of want to sit back and listen. Is going to hear what's going on. And when you see people in your HUD running away from you and getting further and further away, you feel like you're not allowed to do that. Like you have to wait until the mission's done, then you go into your inventory and you find the audio recording if you're able to find where it's at, because it's a pretty big menu, there's a lot of stuff there. And I wasn't able to hear about that conversation with the dude talking about the coffee. It's such a mundane conversation. They're just talking about coffee, but again, when you have a company like Ubisoft who has taken, well, not Ubisoft, again, say massive, when they're taking a lot of effort to kind of flesh out this world, um, I feel like some people might want to experience that, and there's something in here for everybody, whether you're more of a social person or more of a kind of a lone wolf who really kind of just wants to experience the game by themselves. There's a conversation when someone's talking about, going to California and living like a nice life, and the other dude she was talking to was like, "I just want a steak. I just want steak." And some people might not have caught that, which again, if that's not something you're looking for, that's perfectly okay. Um, but I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple of the reasons why some people might want to play this game by themselves, and the reason why it might be beneficial to some players who don't want to roll with a big group all the time, and maybe want to really keep those group situations for when you really have to play them based on the size of the mission or the way the game's kind of telling you, which is something I'm kind of having trouble with is, the game's telling me to play one way, but I feel like playing another way. So yeah, that's my video on the Division as an introvert, playing games as an introvert. I'm actually not an introvert. I'm a very social person, but with a game like this, I sometimes do want to sit back and kind of take a different role and really experience the game in a different way. So if you guys have any suggestions or questions or other ways that you play the game, let me know in the comments. Let me know if I can do anything better. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.